affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. So that is divine. That is the transcendental platform. That one is completely detached. One is situated in the spiritual platform. So he is not dragged to come under the material platform. So now if we see, if we analyze, Kṛṣṇa is confirming that not only he is on the platform of transcendence, but whoever has received this knowledge also. Whoever becomes the recipient of this knowledge which Kṛṣṇa is revealing in this section, he can also come to that platform, that he becomes free from all reaction. That is what we discussed in the last verse, that Jnān Agni Dagda Karmana Bhasmasat Kurute Tatha. That this knowledge, it is like fire which burns to ashes all reactions of material activities. So we will have invocation, Mangalacharan, and then we will discuss the next verses. In the final section, Kṛṣṇa is very much not only just recommending this knowledge, but Kṛṣṇa is revealing that what is so very special about this knowledge. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Svayaṁ Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uta Madkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakti Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunavadi Paschat Deshatarine. Hare Krishna. So this knowledge of Bhagavad-gītā is so sublime. The other day you were asking the meaning of the word sublime. The dictionary meaning says it is so great, it is so glorious, it is unmatched, it is exceptional. Why? Because this knowledge is not like any other branch of knowledge, which gives information or skill, or to the maximum, it gives the livelihood. But this knowledge gives transformation. And I could witness that very closely. Yesterday, I had gone to Govardhan, and in Govardhan, we are having our youth festival, Viplav. 7,500 youths from across India are assembled there for 3 days of convention, spiritual convention. How Bhagavad-gītā has transformed their life, completely changed their life. Most of them come to Delhi in search of career, in search of job, or in search of wife. Why do people come to Delhi? We have so many immigrants from other states and other cities coming to Delhi. Why? For what? Not to become a spiritualist. But how they received this knowledge of Bhagavad-gītā. And Bhagavad-gītā has so much transformed them. It was such an uplifting experience. So this knowledge is for transformation. Prabhupada says in one of his purport that the knowledge of Bhagavad-gītā is not for an armchair speculator. You understand what is an armchair? Like I am sitting in the chair with the arm is there and I am speculating about this knowledge. It is not for that. It is for formation of character. So what is the formation of character? That means the transformation of one's own ideas and ambitions. So that is the potency and the purity of Bhagavad-gītā. So Kṛṣṇa is very much glorifying this knowledge of Bhagavad-gītā in this section. And he begins by saying that once received, whoever receives this knowledge, where is the knowledge received? Not in the head. Where the knowledge of Bhagavad-gītā is received? It has to be received in the heart. But how can we receive in the heart? Our heart is saturated with so many material desires. Is there any space? There is no space. So we have to create that space. Yat gyatva na punar moham. In the 35th verse, Kṛṣṇa spoke that the greatest benefit of this knowledge is that one's illusion will be over forever. One will come to know the reality of himself, what to speak of the entire world. So we are in great delusion. First, the greatest delusion is we do not know who we are. I was just, going through one story of the great conqueror. So this knowledge is not for conquest. This knowledge is for request. There was a very great conqueror. Who has been the greatest conqueror in this world, in the known history? Alexander. Alexander from Greece, when he came to India, he met one sage. You all know? It is said Danda Swami. Then the Greek history write him as Dandamus. So when he met him, so he was trying to terrorize the sage because the sage seemed to be completely uninfluenced by the aura of Alexander. So he challenged the sage and said, do you know to whom you are speaking to? The person who is standing in front of you. And the sage smiled and said, I really doubt that you yourself know who you are. And Alexander was ashamed. All his anger and all his pride was crushed. So this knowledge removes the illusion. So the greatest conqueror in the last phase of his life, when he was about to die, he realized the illusion that he lived in. And in the same illusion, he died. So Kṛṣṇa is revealing here that your illusion will be over forever. Yat gyatva na punar moham. And then Kṛṣṇa is saying not only the illusion will be over, you will come to know who you are, what this world is, and what is your relation with this world. Just last time I discussed about the tattva vibhrama. Tattva vibhrama. Having illusion about the self, having illusion about this world, and having illusion with the relationship of this world with the self. So that tattva is never known. The reality is never known. So the living entity remains in vibhrama, in illusion. So after receiving this knowledge, that tattva will be known. One will become tattva darshibhi or tattva darshina. Then Kṛṣṇa says, what is the advantage of receiving this knowledge? that he will have the spiritual vision, the divine vision. What is the divine vision? Yena bhutani asheshani drakshasi atmano maya anyatha mayi. That one will be able to see this entire world, every living entity in connection with me. Right now, what we are seeing the connection? We have replaced Kṛṣṇa and we have put ourselves in picture. We see the world in relation to self. We see everyone in relation to us. So that illusion will be over and one will receive this divine vision. And in the next verse, he says that even if you are the most abominable of all, even if you are the greatest sinners amongst all the sinful, so don't worry. Of course, Kṛṣṇa in the final instruction of Bhagavad-gītā, he says that aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshashyami masucha. Not only that, Kṛṣṇa is speaking in the 18th chapter. Kṛṣṇa is speaking here in the 4th chapter also. In the 36th verse. He's saying that if you are situated on the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over all the miseries of life. And what to speak of your sin and the reactions of sin, they will be burned to ashes. That means what? Namam karmani limpanti. One will be free from the reaction of all actions. One will become pure, pristine, free from all sin. And he will be able to cross all the oceans of miseries. And then Kṛṣṇa gave the analogy, how it happens, how this knowledge works. This knowledge Kṛṣṇa compared to the fire. Like the fire burns the wood to the ashes, similarly, the fire of this transcendental knowledge, it burns the reactions of one's action, both pious and sinful. That means it liberates the living entity to come to the platform of spiritual existence, eternal existence, transcendental existence. So next verse, the 38th verse. We'll start from 38th verse. Then Kṛṣṇa is speaking about the purity of this knowledge. Nahi jñānena sadṛśaṁ pavitram iha vidyate svayaṁ yoga-saṁsiddhaḥ kālenātmani vindati. So Kṛṣṇa is so much glorifying. He is saying, Nahi jñānena sadṛśaṁ. That this knowledge that I am giving to you, Arjuna, this cannot be compared to any other branch of knowledge. Why? Because this is the purest of all knowledge. Pavitram. Pavitram, Prabhupada says, is sanctified or pure. It is free from the taints of the three modes of material nature. That means it is even beyond goodness. That is why this is transcendental knowledge. Pavitram iha vidyate. And what is the benefit of receiving this knowledge, this pristine, sanctified knowledge? Is tat svayaṁ yoga-saṁsiddhaḥ. So one who has received this knowledge, who has become recipient of this knowledge, what will be his position? He will be established. Tat svayaṁ yoga. That person, he who is received this knowledge, first he becomes mature, and the maturity of this knowledge uplifts him to the platform of yoga-saṁsiddhaḥ. Yoga means connection. Yoga means connection with Kṛṣṇa. So his connection with Kṛṣṇa will become eternal. That connection will never be lost or forgotten. And saṁsiddhi means perfection. Or here Prabhupada is writing maturity. So he'll be established in the highest yoga. Kṛṣṇa will speak in the next chapters that yoginam api sarvesham madgatena antaratmana shraddhaman bhajate yomam samay yukta tamomata. So the highest perfection. The highest perfection, what is the yoga-saṁsiddhaḥ? Is to receive this knowledge. Jñānena sadṛśaṁ. Tell him, I'll speak later. And when this knowledge can be received, how it works, one may inquire how much time it may take. Till that I'm beginning to study, I am following the rules and regulations, I am following the process. So when this knowledge will manifest in my heart, of course it will not manifest in the head. Maybe I have memorized all the 700 verses. I have crammed all the purports and the translation. But when this knowledge will manifest in the heart, when the realization will come, when that transformation will come in my heart, the Kṛṣṇa says, kālenātmani vindati. In due course of time, one will enjoy the result of this knowledge. So many merits Kṛṣṇa is, presenting here from this verse. First, he says that it cannot be compared to any other branch of knowledge or any other knowledge, not even with the Shastric knowledge. Why? Because this is the pavitram vidyate. That Kṛṣṇa will reveal in the 9th chapter also. That this is the purest of knowledge. Arjuna says, what is Arjuna's stuti? In the 10th chapter, what he says? Pavitram purusham shashvatam divyam param brahma param dhamam pavitram paramam bhavam. So not only the Lord is the purest, but the knowledge which is giving in Bhagavad-gītā is also the purest. And not only it is purest, it is very potent. It has the power. It has the empowerment of Kṛṣṇa. What is the empowerment? That it uplifts us to the highest level of connection with Kṛṣṇa. Yoga-saṁsiddhaḥ. And kālenātmani vindati. And one will enjoy his life in this world when he receives this. Everyone wants to enjoy. Everyone wants to be happy. Everyone wants to be in a no suffering state. But how to come to that? This is the key which Kṛṣṇa is revealing here. So in this world, let's see the translation. This world, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. The highest. And whose conclusion is this? This is Supreme Lord's conclusion. Any other conclusion by anyone else has no value or meaning. It is worthless. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism. And this knowledge, as I said, cannot be acquired by one's intelligence or one's ability or one's memory. This knowledge is the result of one's devotion to the Supreme Lord. Prabhupada is saying here, is the mature fruit of all mysticism. And one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service. Here comes the point. Who can become recipient of this knowledge? One who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service. To the extent one has become fixed up and dedicated to perform devotional service, this knowledge will automatically manifest. It is not to be acquired. It is not to be conquered from anywhere else. And one enjoys this knowledge within himself in due course of life. So he will take delight. He will take delight in himself. As that sage, when Alexander approached him, first Alexander sent one of his commanders. Nothing, it was in Takshila. In Takshila, when Alexander reached, Alexander had a spiritual guide also. Anyone knows who was the spiritual guide of Alexander? Not Indian. I think it was Aristotle. And Aristotle told him that if you go to India, don't try to just bring the riches. The biggest riches of India is the sages, the saints there. And when he came conquering all the way and he came to Takshila, he came to know about this sage who lived in a very dense forest, completely detached and renounced. So he had heard the glories of this sage, that he was very wise man. So he sent one of his commanders to call him to his court. And when the commander came and approached the sage was on his bed. What was his bed made of? Dry leaves. Foliage of dry leaves. And when this commander, he tried to impress that you have to come to the court of Alexander the Great. Because my Lord wants to meet you, see you, have interview with you. And the sage did not reply. He remained silent. And because the sage remained silent, there was the flurry of anger in this commander. And he immediately said that one who does not obey the command of my master, he will lose his life. And the sage smiled and said that your master is not God. God gives life. And your master knows only how to take life. Tell him that I am not him. And he left. Why? Because he was enjoying the delights within himself. This is what Kṛṣṇa says. Kālenātmani vindati. He is least bothered. So Prabhupada says, when we speak of transcendental knowledge, we do so in terms of spiritual understanding. This is a very revolutionary statement. It is not just information. It is based on one's experience and realization of understanding. As such, there is nothing so sublime. Again, the word sublime is coming today. The word sublime is there. There is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. So this is the potency of this knowledge. It is the purity and the potency of this knowledge. Kṛṣṇa is saying, ignorance is the cause of our bondage and knowledge is the cause of our liberation. This knowledge is the mature fruit of devotional service. This is what we have to understand. That this knowledge is the fruit of devotional service. To the extent one is dedicated to perform devotional service, this knowledge will automatically manifest. It will be revealed to him. Otherwise, one may do whatever. He will not have even an iota of understanding. There are few levels. I was studying. So some strike as the true in first hearing, depending on one's consciousness and his practice. So some strike the principle which Kṛṣṇa is speaking here as true in first hearing. So such souls are very rare, very pure. But others, they understand as true after contemplation and discussion. So in what category we come? Do we come in first category? At least not me. I don't know about you. So but we want to at least qualify in the second category. That we get understanding based on contemplation and discussion. Whereas the others, they realize after years of practice and purification. So here Kṛṣṇa is saying, kālenātmani vindati. So unless and until the practice and purification has emerged, understanding will not come. We will discuss that in the next verse. Kṛṣṇa will talk about faith. It requires a different level of faith to have that understanding. So Kṛṣṇa is saying here that this knowledge is the mature fruit of devotional service. Tat svayaṁ yoga-saṁsiddhaḥ. He need not search for peace elsewhere. And what is the gain with knowledge? comes the peace, the eternal, everlasting peace. Why? Because his search, his quest is quenched, is satisfied. No longer he is hankering for any material gain, as what that says. So the next level, when the commander went back and reported to Alexander, Alexander decided to come himself. And when he came, at that time, the sage was meditating. What was he doing first when the commander came? He was resting. And he did not allow the commander to disturb his rest. The second time when the king himself came, the sage was meditating. And he came with his army to show and influence the sage of his might. But the sage was in trance. He was meditating. He did not care. And when Alexander came in right in front of him, announcing his arrival, so the sage opened his eyes and he smiled. And in the conversation, the Alexander said that, you know, on whose land you are meditating. You are saying that you are not bothered by me or my might, but do you know, sir, the land on which you are standing or where land you are meditating, it belongs to me, because I have conquered it. And this sage smiled and said that before you, the land belonged to so many else. And after you also, the land will belong to some others. And how much land can you claim? He asked this question, how much land can you claim? You can claim only the land which is equivalent to your body. Because ultimately you will be buried in that land. Your body will be buried, and how much land you can acquire? Only to the extent you have your body's left. Everything else will be taken away with you. So seeing his delight, seeing his strength, his consciousness, Alexander bowed down. And then we know what Alexander realized. What he said, that please leave my hands out of my graveyard, so that everyone can see that I left empty-handed. But it was too late for him to realize. His life was over. So here, Kṛṣṇa is speaking here, Prabhupada is mentioning this, that this knowledge is the mature fruit of devotional service. And when it comes to performing devotional service, we have so many excuses. We have so many lame excuses. Or we are so busy or self-absorbed in delusion or illusion that we do not want to perform devotional service. So this knowledge will remain in the book. This knowledge will not reveal in the heart. So Prabhupada is saying, when one is situated in this transcendental knowledge, when one is situated in this boat of transcendental knowledge, he need not search for peace elsewhere, for he enjoys peace within himself. In other words, this knowledge and peace culminate in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. So why there is so much of violence, and why there is so much of restlessness in the heart, where there is so much of anxiety? Because there is no knowledge. One has not been blessed with this knowledge. Because as soon as one receives this knowledge, what is the immediate effect? That he will be completely peaceful. All the hankerings, all the spriha, all the material desires will be eliminated. And he will not only be in peace, he will be in a blissful state. That is the last word in Bhagavad-gītā. Prabhupada says that is the last word in Bhagavad-gītā. What it means that this is the last word in Bhagavad-gītā? So Bhagavad-gītā should stop here. Why Kṛṣṇa is speaking ahead? If this is the last word in Bhagavad-gītā. What it means to be the last word in Bhagavad-gītā? Sorry? Yes, very good. This is the conclusion of Bhagavad-gītā. So Kṛṣṇa has not only spoken the conclusion in the last 18th chapter. He has been giving it, he has been building it up throughout the Bhagavad-gītā. So many times he told Arjuna that if you come to this platform of receiving this knowledge, you are already free from all sinful reactions. But then in the next verse, Kṛṣṇa will speak, what is the prerequisite? Can anyone receive it? Or anyone who becomes a disciple, paripatena, pariprashnena sevya, can he receive it? Once Prabhupada said that there are many initiates, but very few disciples. There are many initiates, but very few disciples. So Kṛṣṇa gives the qualification for receiving this knowledge. Kṛṣṇa gives 3 qualifications, 3 eligibility criteria to receive this knowledge. Verse number 39. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam tatpara sanyatendriya jnanam labdhva param shantim achirena digacchati. The first and the foremost criteria is Shraddhavan. Like we have Dhanavan. Whoever has money or wealth, he is called Dhanavan. Or we say someone as Jnanavan, one who possesses knowledge. But Kṛṣṇa is not saying Dhanavan or Jnanavan. But what he is asking? Shraddhavan. Shraddhavan, sorry, labhate jnanam. Only those who are faithful can become recipient of this jnana. And those who are tatpara. Tatpara, Prabhupada in the word meaning says, who are very much attached to it. Attached to it, those who value this knowledge. And also the next qualification Kṛṣṇa gives is sanyatendriya. Indriya means the senses, and sanyamat means which is regulated or controlled. One who is faithful and one whose senses are under his control. And then jnanam labdhva param shantim. That Kṛṣṇa spoke in the last verse also. That as soon as one becomes recipient of this knowledge, he experiences everlasting peace. But the point is, when that peace will come? Is it only a hope or a promise? Will that come in this life? Or we have to wait for many, many lives? Achirena digacchati. Shantim achirena digacchati. Achirena, chira means, we have so many times discussed, chira means for a long time. And achira means in a short time. So for receiving this knowledge, one need to have faith. What is faith? We will discuss. And faith in whom and how. Then he has to be tatpara. He has to be very keen and enthusiastic to receive this knowledge. He has to be sanyatendriya. His senses and his mind has to be controlled or regulated. Let's see the translation. A faithful man who is dedicated to transcendental knowledge and who subdues his senses is eligible to achieve such knowledge, and having achieved it, he quickly attains the supreme spiritual peace. Such knowledge and Kṛṣṇa consciousness can be achieved by a faithful person who believes
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, you are muted, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So the foremost qualification required to receive this knowledge is Shraddha. And it is such an important aspect that Kṛṣṇa dedicates the full 17th chapter, where he is giving details on the classifications of different levels of faith, of different levels of practitioners. And what determines one's faith? Kṛṣṇa goes into much details. I will not go into that detail. We will discuss that when we come in the 17th chapter. But normally the faith can be classified on two levels. One is called the Laukik Shraddha. Laukik. Laukik means according to common man. So one has Laukik Shraddha. What is the Laukik Shraddha? If you buy a train ticket, you don't doubt. You pay in advance. Do you doubt? You pay in advance. Once you have the ticket, you'll be able to reach your destination or your place of journey. You don't doubt anything. Or so many things in your life on a daily practice, what you see, what others are doing, you also do the same. So that is called the Laukik Shraddha. But the other is called the Shastrik Shraddha. Faith in scriptures. That is not common. That is very rare. And what the Shastras establish? The Shastra established that Kṛṣṇa is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So unless and until one comes to that platform of Shastrik Shraddha, of accepting Kṛṣṇa as the Supreme, that is why Srila Prabhupada writes in his introduction to the Bhagavad-gītā that who can become a student of Bhagavad-gītā? One who at least theoretically accepts Kṛṣṇa as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What does it mean to accept theoretically? As per Shastras. Shastras declare. Common men do not declare. So having faith in the words of Shastras, having faith in the words of Guru, Acharyas, and having faith in the words of Sadhus. So that faith, that Shraddha qualifies one to receive this knowledge, as Kṛṣṇa is revealing here. One is, Prabhupada says, such knowledge in Kṛṣṇa consciousness can be achieved by a faithful person who believes firmly in Kṛṣṇa. Believing firmly in Kṛṣṇa, believing firmly in Bhagavad-gītā. Believing firmly in all the principles given in Bhagavad-gītā, without any refutation or without any argument. That is Shastrik Shraddha, not Laukik Shraddha. Laukik Shraddha, it keeps rotating, it keeps changing. When Navratri will come, they will worship Durga. When Ganapati, what is it called? Ganesh Chaturthi will come, they will worship Ganesh. When Ram Navami will come, they will worship Ram. Keep changing. What kind of Shraddha is this? Laukik Shraddha. They have not come to the conclusion of the scriptures. So Prabhupada says, first thing is that a faithful person who believes firmly in Kṛṣṇa. There is much emphasis of the word Shraddha. So much so that Lord Chaitanya said that Shraddhavan jan hoye bhakti radhikari. The Kṛṣṇa is speaking here, same. There is no difference. Prabhupada begins the preface of Chaitanya Charitamrita by saying that there is no difference in teaching of Chaitanya Charitamrita and Bhagavad-gītā. It is the same. What is the same? The principle is the same. The Kṛṣṇa is saying, Shraddhavan labhate jnānam. And what is Shraddha? Shraddha in believing that Kṛṣṇa is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and performing devotional service. So Shraddhavan jan hai bhakti adhikari kanisht madhyam uttama shraddha anusari. According to one's faith, one is classified whether he is a neophyte, he is a materialist prakrit bhakta, or he is madhyama, or he is uttama. Where is the difference? The difference in his faith. And how that faith comes, Prabhupada gives a very, very valuable statement. Next line is very important. Prabhupada says this faith is attained by the discharge of devotional service and by chanting Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This faith comes by discharging devotional service. Devotional service we have discussed. Devotional service is the coming under the order of the spiritual master or Krishna's representative. And how devotional service begins? By chanting the holy name. This is where the conditioned soul is most reluctant. Neither he wants to chant, neither he wants to perform devotional service. So what level of faith he will have? Fragile or no faith. That to the extent his faith is not fixed, his dedication to perform devotional service is not there, he cannot become recipient of this knowledge. That means he is not having shastric sadha or spiritual faith, which cleanses one's heart of all material dirt. Over and above this, one should control the senses. To be able to chant, what do you have to do? First thing is you have to bring the regulation. Can anyone chant without regulation? Is it possible? It is not possible. Just not possible. First thing is to bring the regulation. If one has to perform devotional service, what he has to do? He has to bring regulation. So many times I have discussed what it means to control the mind and senses. Can we control the mind and senses? No. By no human effort one can control the mind and senses. But what we can do? We can regulate the mind and senses. How? By bringing them under certain regulations. So if a person who does not follow regulation, that means he is a slave of his senses. He is Godas. This knowledge will only come to the extent one has become Goswami. For a Godas, there is no possibility. So Sanyatendriya. Unless and until one is, so the process of purification begins by controlling one's mind and senses. And then chanting Hare Kṛṣṇa. And why are we chanting Hare Kṛṣṇa? See, everything is connected, related. Step one is to perform a regulation. And with regulation, why do we observe regulation? To be able to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And why do we chant? What is the purpose of chanting? Why are we chanting? Why do we chant? Of course, it is for purification, but that is not the ultimate aim. Like you are saying, खाना क्यों खाते हो? भूख मिटाने के लिए. Do you eat every time just to quench your hunger? Is that the purpose of taking food? No. The purpose of taking food is that you enjoy eating. Isn't it? You enjoy the taste and the palate of what has been cooked. That is why sometimes you are enthusiastic and the other times you are not enthusiastic what has been cooked. Because if it does not satisfy your palate, you don't feel like eating. But if it is your favorite dish, you eat more. The purpose of eating is not just to quench the hunger. So similarly, the purpose of chanting is not just purification. The purpose of chanting is pleasure of Kṛṣṇa. And what is the pleasure of Kṛṣṇa? Is to serve him. Through service, what we are expressing our love. What will please Kṛṣṇa is our love for him. So how do we develop that love? This is the very, very deep purport Prabhupada is giving here. So it begins from regulation. Why do we control? Why do we regulate? Because this will please Kṛṣṇa. We don't have to please our senses. In our day-to-day life, we sacrifice. Don't we sacrifice? The husband sacrifice for wife, the wife sacrifice for husband. That is why they remain husband and wife. If the element of sacrifice is gone, then there are only conflicts and separation. Isn't it? The coexistence or the compatibility is only to the extent there is sacrifice and understanding. So we sacrifice our sensual pleasures for pleasing Kṛṣṇa. Very simple, not difficult. But we do not have that goal. We do not have that understanding. We do not have that desire. So how to bring it about? From sense regulation. Regulate. Easy to regulate the body than to regulate the mind. And then we will see in the 6th chapter, Kṛṣṇa will speak how to begin this process of regulation. Yuktahar viharasya, yukta teshtasa karmasu, yukta swapna bodhasya, yogi bhavati dukkha. Same thing. Yogi bhavati dukkha. He is freed from all miseries in his life. Why? Because he is experiencing that kālenātmani vindati. He is experiencing that bliss, that pleasure. And where it begins by regulation of the senses. So Shraddhavan means he has to be sanyatendriya. Otherwise it has no meaning to Shraddha. Like there are many speakers of Srimad Bhagavatam who speak Bhagavatam and then they engage or indulge in meat eating and intoxication. Do they have any faith in the scripture? No faith. Why? Because they are not sanyatendriya. The first level is to become regulated. So many times I have emphasized upon it. Some of you are taking it very seriously in your life. Every day you send me your sadhana cards. Daily you have to wake up in Brahma Muhurat, not later than 4:30. Maximum 4:30. Today I attended the Mangal Aarti at our Govardhan temple. Mangal Aarti was at 4:15. Yesterday I particularly asked them that what time is the Mangal Aarti, and the devotee told me 4:15. And somehow I did not want to miss. Because last time when I went to Haridwar, I missed Mangal Aarti. Little bit of body problem, body disability and deficiency corrupted. So I slept immediately. As soon as I heard about it, I came back and I slept. Because I knew I'm tired, I've traveled. So regulation has to be there. I was able to wake up. Before 5, morning program was over. Felt so good. Everything was done. Jitamit Prabhu was also there with me, His Grace Jitamit Prabhuji. And he reached before me. Yesterday night, I told him that Prabhuji, Mangalarti is unusual time. He said, not unusual. Brahma Muhurat means till 4:58. Till 4:58, morning program will be over. And exactly what I experienced today. But for that, you have to sleep in time. Why are you awake at the late hours in night? What activity you are doing? Either sinful or sense gratification. Are you doing devotional service at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock in the night? What devotional service you are performing? That is also speculated. So first thing is regulation. Sanyate indriya. Don't allow your senses to remain loose. Prabhupada says, senses are compared to the venomous snakes. It will continue to inject poison in the heart. What is the poison? Hari Hari Vifale Janama Gonai. Manusha Janma Paiya Radha Kṛṣṇa Na Bhajiya. Janiya Shuniya Vish Khainu. So now it makes the song meaningful. How that wish is coming? Where the wish is coming? From our own senses, which are compared to serpents. Nobody else is injecting poison in our head. Nobody is putting poison in our food. Janiya Shuniya Vish Khainu. But where is that wish coming? From our Vishay Indriya. From our sensuous or sense gratificatory senses. So how to curb them? How to control them? By regulation. Tatpara sanyate indriya. Has to be very regulated. Morning I was doing parikrama. Because by 5 everything was done. Then I thought there is so much of time. Let me do parikrama. And anyway, the youth were also going for parikrama, but they will be going slowly. And when I finished the parikrama at 7:15, I passed through 2-3 of the most famous sweet shops of Govardhan. Then the mind was saying, "Bahut thak gaye ho, abhi to kuch prasad milega nahi 10 baje ke pehle. You can take milk sweets. There is no harm, and this is Dham, Govardhan." What is the difficulty? And the name of the shop is also Giriraj Mishthan. But we cannot succumb to our senses. And we have to regulate and control them till what time? Till the last breath of our life. Till the last breath of our life. Don't think once or twice we have done it is sufficient. So Kṛṣṇa is emphasizing here. We will see that theme. Kṛṣṇa continues in so many other chapters. Even in the 8th chapter, when Arjuna asked these questions in the 8th chapter. When Arjuna asks 8 questions in the 8th chapter, Niyatatmabhi, the word he uses is Niyatatmabhi. The one who is regulated or self-controlled. So how to become self-controlled is by having strict regulation. So by regulation, one will be able to observe the regulative principles. And by observing the regulative principles, one will be able to chant. Not otherwise. That is why we see people, Prabhuji, हमसे तो जब होता ही नहीं है. होगा कैसे? Because there is no regulation. Now I see regulation. At times you sleep at 9. Was it ever happening in your life before? So things change. But that change must come. If no change is coming, that means no knowledge is getting into the heart. Knowledge means change, transformation. From Laukik Shraddha, we have to come to the platform of Shastric Shraddha. What is Shastric Shraddha? That we accept what Kṛṣṇa says and we are least bothered to what the world says. But a worldly man, a faithless man, he believes in what the world says and he disbelieves in what Kṛṣṇa says. So such a person, how can he receive this knowledge? A person who is faithful to Kṛṣṇa and he controls the senses can easily attain perfection in the knowledge of Kṛṣṇa consciousness without delay. So this is the criteria or qualification required to receive the knowledge. So step 1 is to come under regulation. That is sadhana bhakti. What is sadhana bhakti? It is all about rules and regulation. Rag marg, there is no regulation. But that is only for those who have developed attraction for Kṛṣṇa. And one is not having attraction for Kṛṣṇa, he is having attraction for Maya and he does not want to do sadhana bhakti. So what will be his fate? Which is the next verse, 40th verse. One who does not follow what Kṛṣṇa says, such a person is unfaithful. Kṛṣṇa says, Ajnanascha ashraddhanascha samshayatma vinashyati nayam loko asti na paro na sukham samshayatmana. Very, very powerful words. Kṛṣṇa says, first he says is Ajnanascha. Ajnanas means one who is bereft of knowledge. Prabhupada says, a fool who has no knowledge in standard scriptures. Second level is ashraddhanascha, one who is ignorant. And second is that person, one who lacks faith, faithless person. And there is another category. There is ajnan and ashraddha, and also there is samshayatma. Samshayatma means one who is always doubting. Of course, the element of doubt is due to lack of faith. If faith is there, then there is no doubt. To the extent one doubts means there is lacking faith. There is a samshayatma. The one who is lacking faith will fall in this category of samshayatma. So what is his situation? In the last verse, Kṛṣṇa is saying that what is the destination of one who has faith? That yoga-saṁsiddhaḥ. But one who lacks faith and who does not receive this knowledge, what will be the result or what will be his fate? He says, Nayam loko na asti paro. Na ayam loka. Ayam loka means in this planet, in this lok. What is that lok? Prithvi lok or mrityu lok. Na asti paroho. Neither in this life, nor in the next life, neither in this planet, nor in the next planet. What? Na sukham. He will never ever experience any peace or happiness. Of course, without peace, there is no experience of happiness. So neither he will experience any peace nor happiness. But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures. Again, the Shraddha word is connected to scriptures. There are two kinds of categories. One who is the ignorant. So the mass of men are ignorant. They have no interest in scriptures. And why they have no interest in scripture, if you deeply analyze, because they have no faith in scriptures. So whether they are ignorant or faithless and who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness. Clearly, very clear. They may make a show of whatever, but this knowledge will not enter into their heart. They fall down. The word is vinashyati. Ajnanascha ashraddhanascha samshayatma vinashyati. Vinashyati means they are destroyed. They are decimated. For the doubting and for the doubting soul, there is happiness neither in this world nor in the next. That means who does not believe the words of Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa has spoken about it in the 3rd chapter also. If you see, Kṛṣṇa spoke. He spoke just contrasting to one who has faith. There also he said. 3.31, you see. I'm reminded of 3.31, where Kṛṣṇa says that one who has faith, what will be his destination? Ye me matamidam nityam anutishtanti manva shraddhavanto anusuyanto muchyante te api karma bhi. Those persons who execute their duties according to my instructions and who follow these teachings faithfully, without envy, become free from the bondage of fruitive activities. But here Kṛṣṇa is saying that who lacks faith, who is a doubting soul, who does not accept my principles, or one who remains ignorant, one who shows no interest, all the 3 categories, their destination is one. What is their destination? Vinashyati. They fall down. Fall down from where? From the human platform. That is vinashyati. In the next life, they will not get the human platform. They will go to more abominable species of life. So it is very dangerous. Sometimes people say ignorance is bliss. This is not bliss. Ignorance means a complete destruction. Ajnanascha ashraddhanascha. And samshayatma, a doubting soul. He is the worst of all the 3. So for him there is no happiness in this world and there is no happiness in the next. Out of many standard and authoritative revealed scriptures, the Bhagavad-gītā is the best. This is another sign of faith. The theme this time is transformation of youths through Bhagavad-gītā, that youth convention. And that was the youths of different centers. They had put up models of how Bhagavad-gītā is transforming the life of so many youths. Their own experiences they were putting up in the form of models. And there was experience sharing also from some senior devotees, that how the edition of Bhagavad-gītā of Srila Prabhupada has changed and transformed. It has touched and transformed the life of so many. Even to the hardcore criminals and terrorists. If they received it. And once they received it, they had faith. They had faith in that sadhu. Patri Prabhu was revealing. Most of you don't know Patri Prabhu. He's a very, very dynamic preacher. He preaches in Nepal now. I know him for many, many years. Very elevated soul. He can inspire and transform. He has inspired and transformed so many. So he was sharing how the mafia They approached him. Approached him means the center which they were opening in Nepal. Because there are many Maoists in Nepal. And they don't believe. And they are both. They are all three. Ajnanascha, Shraddhanascha, and Samshayat. And they threatened to kill. How? By planting a bomb in the center. He said, if you don't remove your center, we will destroy it by planting the bomb. And Prabhuji said that night, we prayed to Narasimhadev. We all remained awake. And we chanted to Narasimhadev for protection. Avasya rakhibe Kṛṣṇa, Vishwasya palam. Now what happened? No bomb came. Nothing came. But that person became transformed. Of course, there are too many details. Some other times I will speak about it. So here Kṛṣṇa is saying that if you remain ignorant of this knowledge that I am giving to you, or if you do not have faith in what I am telling you, or if you have doubts in accepting, we will see Arjuna, why Arjuna is so distinguished. Because Arjuna says, Sarvam etadritan manne yanmam vadasi kishua. I accept everything that you say as the complete truth, and nothing but the truth. So what it means to accept this as the truth is to apply. Not that Arjuna said that, okay, whatever you have told me is good, but ultimately I have decided I will not fight. Arjuna says, Karishye vachanam tava. So here Prabhupada is saying, persons who are almost like animals have no faith in knowledge or the standard revealed scriptures. So human life means a life of developed intelligence. And if one is in human platform, there is no possibility of not having faith. But if he is in the consciousness of animal, then he cannot show faith in scriptures, in Kṛṣṇa or Krishna's words. Even though they have knowledge of or can cite scriptures, and some of them, they have no faith in or knowledge of the standard revealed scriptures, and some even though they have knowledge of or can cite passages from the revealed scriptures, have actually no faith in the words. We see so many, particularly the professional reciters of Srimad Bhagavatam, or so many swamis and sannyasis and so-called gurus. They speak about the spiritual message of Bhagavad-gītā also, but they do not accept and apply any principle. So such persons, they will never be able to receive this knowledge. And even though others may have faith in scriptures like Bhagavad-gītā, they do not believe in or worship the personality of Godhead Shri Kṛṣṇa. Such persons cannot have any standing in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. The worship means to perform devotional service. So I have seen practically so many times, most of the people who come and leave, why? Because they do not perform devotional service. They are only interested in their own selfish motive. They have only come to gain from Kṛṣṇa consciousness. We cannot cheat Kṛṣṇa. Can anyone cheat Kṛṣṇa? Is it possible? No. The process of purification is performing devotional service. And devotional service beginning with chanting. Who remembers? You remember the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, which says that how the devotional service begins? Huh? No. How the devotional service begins? By chanting of the holy name. A very famous verse. I think it is 6:3:31 or 27. Tannam grahanadibhi. Manoram Prabhu, just find that verse. Tannam grahanadibhi. Tan, Nam, Grahan. Grahan means to accept. Adibhi. Where is my movement? So the process of devotional service begins by chanting. And to, as I discussed, to begin chanting, one has to follow the four regulative principles. And then this is a sign of faith. So here Kṛṣṇa is saying, okay, you find out, if you find very good, I'll complete the purport. Less than 10 minutes is left. Such persons cannot have any standing in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, they fall down. Many places Kṛṣṇa is very clearly revealing in Bhagavad-gītā that what is the status of those who make a show. Hypocrisy is not allowed in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. There is no scope for hypocrisy. You understand what is hypocrisy, no? What is the right word of Hindi in hypocrisy? Dhoka. धोखाधड़ी नहीं चलेगा. कृष्णा के साथ धोखा नहीं कर सकते. Out of all the above mentioned persons, those who have no faith and are always doubtful make no progress at all. Very heavy. Prabhupada is saying they make no progress at all. Men without faith in God and His revealed word find no good in this world, nor in the next. For them there is no happiness whatsoever. One should therefore follow the principles of revealed scriptures with faith and thereby be raised to the platform of knowledge. Only this knowledge will help one become promoted to the transcendental platform of spiritual understanding. So without having faith, without following the regulation, without engaging in devotional service, Prabhupada is clearly saying, one will be promoted to the transcendental platform of spiritual understanding. The spiritual understanding that I am not this body, I am soul, can only come when one has become transcendental. One has become pure. Otherwise, it is not possible. Just not possible. In other words, doubtful persons have no status whatsoever in spiritual emancipations. One should therefore follow in the footsteps of great acharyas who are in the disciplic succession and thereby attain success. 2 verses are left from this chapter. I will take those 2 verses in the next session and complete that session. You did not find the verse? Okay. So you can share. Yeah, very good. Thank you. I was missing the first word. Etavan evaloke asmin pumsa dharma parasmita bhakti yoga bhagavati tannam grahanadibhi. Etavan. In this planet, loke asmin, in this pumsa dharma parasmita. What is the highest principle of religion for the living entities? What is the highest principle of religion? Parasmita. Para religion means the transcendental or the spiritual principle for performing dharma or religious duties is bhakti yoga bhagavati, is to perform devotional service. And how to perform devotional service? Tannam grahanadibhi. Read, I cannot read it. Can you read the translation? Manoram Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. Devotional service, beginning with the chant of the Lord, is the ultimate religious principle for the living entity in human society.
Thank you. Which verse number is this? 22. This was 6:3:22.
Yes.
Yeah. This is the conclusion. Like Kṛṣṇa is giving the conclusion of this transcendental knowledge. It is very, very risky that after coming in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, after to some extent receiving the instructions of Kṛṣṇa from Bhagavad-gītā and then rejecting it or not accepting it. Which category one is coming? He is ashraddhanascha and samshayatma. And Kṛṣṇa is saying here, for him, there is no happiness or no progress in this life or even in the next. Very, very risky state. Very precarious. So I'll stop here. If there is any discussion or any question or doubt, please ask. Better not to remain a samshayatma and try to find solution to our samshayas. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Yes, Madam Sarup. Hare
Kṛṣṇa Prabhuji. So Prabhuji, somewhere we read that if we chant Hare Nam, and then that's a good enough. Like in case of Ajamil, though he did not intend to chant, but even calling his son, he got liberated. Here we have a process of, having a faith, controlling the senses. So different places, there are different prescriptions. How do we understand?
No. What we are discussing here is to receive this transcendental knowledge. This transcendental knowledge was given by Kṛṣṇa to everyone. Senyor pure madhye. Kṛṣṇa spoke. Did Kṛṣṇa tell Arjuna that only you will be able to listen, everybody else I am making deaf?
No.
So Kṛṣṇa gave this knowledge to everyone. This knowledge is there in the book for everyone. But do everyone receive the same benefit of this knowledge?
No.
Why? I'm asking you why.
Because they don't have faith.
Yes, so simple. You know the answer. Why you are doubting? Why you are doubting? So according to the faith, if we chant the holy name with faith, that the name of Kṛṣṇa is not different from Kṛṣṇa. Do we have that faith?
Yeah, not fully.
Nam namina. Ajamil, see the story of Ajamil is given in the introduction of the 6th canto. If you see the progression of Srimad Bhagavatam, in the end of the 5th canto, there is description of the hellish planets. And I think around 28 or 32 hellish planets are described, not all. And after hearing the description of the hellish planet, a Paramhamsa like Parikshit Maharaj is very much disturbed to see the suffering of the sinful conditioned soul. So what is the hope? The hope is the holy name. Today we were discussing when I was coming back I had the opportunity of association with His Grace Gita with Prabhu. I came in his car. So we were discussing that first Kali Yuga has to be established. In Kali Yuga, what people will do? All sinful activities. And then the Lord has to come to establish the Yuga Dharma of the Yuga. And what is the Yuga Dharma of the Yuga? Is Harer Nam Eva Keval. So even who are the most sinful, or most abominable, even if they take to the process of chanting, see, this is what it is being said. I just showed you the verse. Deliberate on it. Once again, show the verse. Manoram Prabhu? The answer is there. Show the translation. Devotional service beginning with the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. That is not the perfection. It begins. Is the ultimate religious principles for the living entity in human society. Okay, we stop the share. I'll give you one practical example. Like someone begins schooling. One goes to class 1. Is that the perfection of education?
That's the beginning.
That's the beginning. So when we chant with all offenses. That is called aparadh yukta now. But we have to clear that stage of offensive chanting. And what is the reason of offensive chanting? If you see the 10 nam aparadh, everywhere you will single out for one aspect, and it depends on faith. What is the practitioner lacking? Faith.
Yes.
Why he is committing offenses? Because he does not have faith in the holy name, or does not value the holy name as non-different from Kṛṣṇa. So the instructions are not different. You please read that section of Srimad Bhagavatam. Ajamil was not delivered. Ajamil was, in a way, he was awakened. He was awakened. He came to realize the glory and the value of the holy name. And what he did, he gave up the association. He gave up his family attachments. And he took the renounced order and he proceeded and he perfected his chanting and he returned back. But the process began by his calling out the name of his son Narayan, which he did not intend.
Yes.
Yeah. So that is the beginning of the process. Here also, the same word is there. The process begins by chanting. But if you have to progress, then you have to have all these criteria, qualifications. One has to be sanyatendriya, tatparaha, yeah, shraddhavan. Then only one can progress. That is what Prabhupada is saying. That one who is samshayatmana, one who is ashraddhana, he cannot make any progress. He must take to the process, but the process will not elevate him because he is lacking faith. And how faith will come is by chanting and by performing devotional service. The process remains the same. Ajamil performed both. He gave up the entire activities of the world to chant sincerely, and he performed devotional service, and he perfected his life.
Thank you, Bhadi.
Hare Krishna. So that is why we said, we have to understand by discussion and by contemplation or by deliberation. That is the second level of Shraddha. Advanced level of Shraddha is just by hearing once. Gautam Buddha only heard once. What did he see? He saw an old lady. And he said, will this happen to me? And his charioteer said, yes. And he realized this. Are we not seeing so many times? Are we not seeing old person in the world? We have become old seeing others become old. But it is not registering in our intelligence. Is it registering in our intelligence? No. Then he saw, the crippled lady. He said, what has happened to her? Why she is bent? Why she is, walking with the support of the stick? He said, that is old age. That is disease. He said, will it happen to me? Oh, why not? And then, of course, he saw a dead body.
Dead body.
And he attained What? He attained detachment. But this is useless. If this is the result, this is a useless thing. I'm not interested. Alexander also came to some understanding, but his life was over. His days were over. So we must take the process of chanting and devotional service very seriously if we have to make progress. Okay? Thank you for asking this question.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So that samshaya has to be
Removed.
finished from its root. Hare Krishna. There is no, Prabhupada says, Guru Maharaj said once, that Kṛṣṇa consciousness is the shortcut. But if you try to cut short in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, that is not possible. This is the shortcut. And if you want to cut that also, then we are, Atmaha.
Then we are cut.
No, yes, then it is Atmaha. This Shastra says Atmaha, killer of the soul. Here Kṛṣṇa is saying very heavy. Ajnanascha, ashuddhanascha. Most of the people say, I'm not interested in spiritual knowledge. How does it matter to me? And what will be the destination? What will be the result of it? Of not receiving this knowledge. All the three, ajnanascha, ashraddhanascha, and samshayatma. That is why it said, tasmad gurum prapadyate jigyasu shreya uttamam. Who can surrender? One who is jigyasu shreya uttamam. Hey, jigyasu are many. Everybody is asking, kya bhav hai? Prabhupada is saying in one lecture, everybody is jigyasu. Kya bhav hai? Kaise milega? Kab milega? But that is not Brahma Jigyasa. Jigyasu shreya uttamam. Okay. Anyone else has any question or doubt? Yeah. Give her the mic.
Sir, since childhood we celebrate all the festivals.
Okay.
So we celebrate with happiness always, sir, without, but I totally disagree, sir. We don't think that by chanting Hare Krishna, we, I am not agreeing with this, sir, because.
What is your formula? What is your realization so far in your life? What is the spiritual understanding that you have developed so far?
So like,
The festivals that we celebrate has no spiritual element. Does it have any spiritual element? It has only one element. And that is what? Entertainment. Enjoyment.
We do punish in our work.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that we are asking something. We do with heart. Like we like our gods, so we perform the puja. But
that puja, see, there is a lot of difference between ritual and spiritual.
That is also spiritual.
How it is spiritual?
Worshipping Lord Ganesha is also spiritual.
How? That is what I'm asking you. What is your understanding?
Because his childhood was celebrating every festival.
That is it. Yeah. The root of it, why you are observing or celebrating, because you have a certain kind of faith. And where is the source of that faith? That is there with everyone in this world. And whatever family that they have taken birth, you see this religion of this world, what basis they are religious? If you are born in a Muslim family, your faith is, what is your faith? Muslim. If you take birth in a Christian family, your faith is, your religion is Christian. And it is always changing. Changing or not? So many people change religion. How? The faith is changing. So Kṛṣṇa is speaking in Bhagavad-gītā, he will give a detailed discourse. That men who have material desires, they worship the demigods. Even though it is considered to be in the mode of goodness. Worship of demigod is not in the mode of passion or ignorance. Kṛṣṇa will speak that. As I told you in the 17th chapter, when you will see, Kṛṣṇa is speaking about it. But are you following? Is there any rules and regulations? People follow some rules and regulations in Navaratri. Have you heard or not? They will not drink. They will not take non-veg. Yeah? Huh? Even onion, garlic, they will not take. Why? Why for 9 days they observe or restrain or abstain from it? You are saying you observe Navaratri. So do you do all this activity? Do you take onion and garlic in Navaratri? Can you offer to Devi what you have prepared with onion and garlic? On the Navaratri day they do that. My mother also does that. She offers the preparation to Durga Ji and then she gives to unmarried girls. She calls unmarried girls and that is the custom, that is the tradition. This she learned from her mother, from her mother-in-law, from her grandmother. She continues. Even I don't interfere in what she does. Let her do, because she has that kind of faith only. Do you do that? Do you make onion and garlic and do you offer to Durga Devi and then give to the girls? I am asking you, be honest. In South they don't. I am saying, see, this is our rituals. You may have some other Devi. You may have some other. But do you prepare with onion and garlic and offer to any demigod? Then it is in the mode of ignorance. Then of course it is in the mode of ignorance. So normally, as you were saying, so you may do whatever you like. But what is the scripture saying? This is what Kṛṣṇa is speaking here. According to scriptures, what is the conclusion of scriptures? Ajñānascha. Either one is ignorant, because he does not know, that does not absolve him. Like you are going on the road. You say, I don't know the traffic rules. I don't know red light means to stop. I will drive. What will happen? Either you will meet with an accident, or if you don't meet with an accident, the traffic man will catch you. Will he leave you? Just because you don't accept, will he leave you? So Kṛṣṇa is warning here. Ajñānascha ashraddhadhanascha. And the third is samshayaṭma. So demigod worship is for those who have not come out of material desires. They have material desires. Like you yourself expressed the other day, I remember that you want to wear costly dresses. Is it a spiritual desire? By your understanding. I don't want to embarrass you, but please look into the reality.
What if it is wrong if I do it now because I am having the money? What if it is wrong?
See, that is, I am discussing a principle. Is there any spiritual element in that? That means you do not know understanding of what is spiritual and what is material. A spiritual means which will have eternal benefit. Your dress, if you buy whatever number of dresses, is it eternal? No. And that is only for your own self, for your own sensual pleasure. So this knowledge can only infiltrate in the heart of those who are sanyati indriya, those who are regulated. Whether you agree or you do not agree, it does not change. Intelligent person is who can see the result. You can see the result. It is not that you cannot see the result. But if you become blind to the result, then how it will benefit you? So what I meant is, there is no faith which is fixed. Sometimes we are saying that Ganpati is supreme. The other time we are saying Devi is supreme. Or some other time we are saying someone else is supreme. So we have no clarity. That is samshayaṭma. So why the worship is there? The worship is there because Either due to fear. Why do people perform rituals? Due to fear. They feel that if they stop it, something unpleasant can happen to them. Like we see in the case of Indra Puja. As the Brajvasi stops the Indra Puja, Indra became angry. So it is out of fear. That is the lowest platform. Why people are performing worship? Out of fear. In Christianity, what they say? That if you don't pray to God, or if you don't accept God, where you will go? You will go to hell. Isn't it? So why people accept God or accept Jesus? Because they don't want to go to hell. But that is not first class worship. That is fourth class worship. And higher than that is the worship because of desire. Most people who are demigod worshippers, Kṛṣṇa will explain, they are worshipping demigods because demigods fulfill their desire. So is there a spiritual element in that? No. There is the element of self-satisfaction or self-satisfaction. But even higher than that is the platform of duty. So if one is in the human form of life, he performs devotional service or worship. The devotional service begins at the platform of duty, neither on the platform of desire nor on the platform of fear. Other demigods, it is both. And as you yourself are revealing, there is no clarity of who the Supreme Lord is. There are so many gods and everyone is the same. Everyone is equal. So this is the offense for chanting. To consider demigods like Shiva, Brahma, Indra, Chandra, Durga, Ganesh, and so many and so on, to be equal to or independent from Lord Kṛṣṇa. It is not that it is my decision. It is mentioned in scriptures, in Padma Puran. One may continue arguing, but will it do any good to us? Are we making any progress? This is what Prabhupada is speaking here. That one who is not having faith and one who is a doubting soul, he cannot make any progress. This is what Prabhupada is exactly mentioning. That he cannot make any progress. Therefore, Prabhupada is again and again. See, this is what Prabhupada is saying. Even though others may have faith in scriptures and they do not believe in the worship of the personality of Godhead, Sri Kṛṣṇa, such persons cannot have any standing in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. They fall down. So it is up to us. It is our choice. That is what we are saying. There are two more categories which I did not discuss. Fourth is, I said three now. Some may strike at one hearing and accept it. But that is very rare. In Kali Yuga, it is extremely rare. Second is that we understand after contemplation, discussion. Third is we realize after years of practice and purification. And the fourth is we never understand. Some may never understand. So all categories are there. So, but we should endeavor not to remain on the lowest level of consciousness. We should elevate. When we are getting the opportunity, this knowledge, this wisdom, we should apply. Apply and see. You see the change in your friend. You ask her time of wake up and is it possible for you to wake up? You yourself said it is not possible for you to wake up. Then What spiritual person means? He wakes up early in the morning. This is the first thing. So this is the reason. The reason for that is the doubting soul. Unless and until you are convinced, you will never be able to apply it. So that is very important. Very, very important. And the principles will only work when we apply. If we don't apply, it will never work. I'll stop here. It's getting late. Is it clear? Clarity is there. But many times, we do not accept the reality. That is up to us. That freedom, after speaking the entire Bhagavad-gītā, Kṛṣṇa told Arjuna. What did Kṛṣṇa says? Yatha ichhasi tatha kuru. Do whatever you like. Duryodhana did not accept. Did Duryodhana accept? He did not accept. Did Dhritarashtra accept? No. Only Arjuna accepted. The message was same. Was there any difference in the message? But there is a difference in the personality. And where is the difference? The difference is in faith. Arjuna accepted Kṛṣṇa without his army, without any ammunition. And Duryodhana lost with the entire might and all the ammunitions. The difference is in faith. And faith comes from following. We are not very faithful people. Our faith is not, refined or fixed in Kṛṣṇa. But it can be by following the process purely. Thank you very much.